Alright. Kodash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabayath, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts. Yah, He, Va, He. Those four syllables could be said as a mantra, as well as Kodash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabayath, and Yah, He, Va, He is signifying first Yah, Father who art in heaven, He being feminine, meaning Mother Nature, the womb of the earth where mankind, Va, was created. The next would be Va, which is us, their creation, like it says in Genesis. In the beginning, Elohim said, let us create them in our image. So, Yah, Father who art in heaven. Hey, Mother, supernal Mother who art in the earth. Mother Nature, the womb. Va, mankind that was created in the womb of the earth. And back to Hey, which is Ana Chokma. And Ana Chokma meaning Mother Wisdom. Yah, He, Va, He. And the four also signify the four worlds, and I'll show you something with that also means too. The four worlds, like you see on this chart right here. Yah, He, Va, He, and it basically breaks down the four worlds and the Godhead. Just like I've been telling people all along, like the Hebrew Sephiroth, how they correlate with the seven chakras. But truth will set you free. Alright, today let me finish my introduction. That was Yahé Vahe. As above, so below. The macro prosophis above and the micro prosophis below, because we are the microorganisms and the host of the Elohim. So let's jump right into it. Today, somebody requested this video, and I meditated on it, and this is what the Spirit gave me. And it's about Passover in 2023. So we're going to get into a couple scriptures, out of the Bible, to break down what Passover is. We're going to get into a couple definitions. We're also going to go into numerology. And then we're also going to go into the esoteric text of the Zohar. Of the things in which it's going to speak of in Passover. It's going to talk about the wheat and the chaff. Just like it's talking about in this Passover, this harvest and the grain, and this remembrance, and this feast of unleavened bread. And then the numerology of the numbers of the significance of it because of the time period in which we are in. On the chart in which we are in now, it says that Passover is from April 5th to the 13th. So happened today is 13th. And other people, they have multiple different dates because you got different calendars. You have the original 360-day calendar to a year. That would make sense because 3 and 6 make 9, and 9 completes a cycle, and 360 degrees also creates a complete circle. The completion of something that is contained, a circle. Then you also have 364-day years, which would be, instead of 12 months, you would have 13 months that all consist of 28 days each. Like I was trying to say before in another video, there is 7 days in a week, and there's 4 weeks in a month. So you have 7, 14, 21, 28. That would be a complete month. 4, just like just showing you on this chart. A lot of stuff deals with 4. Yah, He, Va, He. 4 elements, earth, water, fire, air. Everything goes hand in hand, like I was telling people before, you got to find a consistency and pattern in things. And then you also have the modern day calendar, which consists of 365 days, where you have 12 months in a year, but you don't have the 28-day charts. You have 28 days in February, and what they did was instead of extending it, they shortened it. So instead of extending it to 13 months, they took those extra 2-3 days off and added them on to the 28 days, to shorten them up. Just like you have 12, like 13 is a significant number, a lot, brother Abdul Seer, he breaks that down to T. He actually put me on the significance of the number 13, and since then I've looked into it, and the number 13 comes up in a lot of things, There was originally 13, zodiacs, Some people believe that there's 13 tribes, Some people believe that there is, there is 13 paths of wisdom, 13 rose petals. And even when you just go on the clock, everything revolves back to 13, We got 12 up top, you got 6 down the bottom. But when you add 12 and 1, you have 13, And if you go to the left, you got 11. And then back 2 over here, you got 13. And then when you go down to 10 over here and 3 over here, you see it. Everything's going to always revolve back to 13. Now let's jump right into this, Passover in 2023. I'm just giving you a little ideology on the numerology and how things are always going to correlate and why this is going to correlate and be significant in this time period. All right, first we're going to start off with our Holy Bible. Boom. Jump right into the Holy Bible. I already got that bookmarked. Let's get right here. Bang. Right here, we're going to start off in the book of Deuteronomy. I'm not going to, I'm just going to read this off and I'm going to break it down, because I can't hold this tablet steady. I know other people got better technology, to hold this stuff still. But I just got my laptop set up, so I'll be able to, start doing videos on the laptop and pull things up on the screen and, be able to read them off and break them down better to you, I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way with just, basic tools, multitasking. So, but this would be Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1, and it reads. Let's jump right into it. Deuteronomy, chapter 16, verse 1. Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. In honor of the Lord your God, celebrate the Passover each year in early spring, and spring being the actual real Hebrew New Year. It's not in the dead of winter. It's actually in the spring, when things start to bloom and things start to come alive, That's when the year resets and you become alive another year, in the essence of the cycle of the celestial, and the terrestrials, celestial, terrestrial bodies that connect as above, so below. Cosmic energy, nature, and the natural energy, In honor of the Lord your God, celebrate the Passover each year in the early spring, in the month of Abib. So, as it says right here, the month of Abib. Now we're going to look at the definition of the month of Abib. Month of Abib. God brought you out of Egypt by night. We know Egypt is the Greek word for Egyptos. And when you look up what the Greek word Egyptos means, it means the house of bondage. The original name for Egypt would be Mizraim. And Mizraim was one of the sons of Ham. Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And, as we broke down before in the Zondervan Compact Dictionary, how Ham is the progenitor of the dark races and not the Negroes, but how they both look identical. 9 ether beings with woolly hair, and how Japheth is the Isles of Gentiles, But the month of Abib, God brought you out of Egypt by night, Egypt being Mizraim, Year of grain. The month in the Hebrew calendar when barley reached or passed this stage. Exodus 13:4. So listen to that key word. The month of Abib. It says when the calendar of barley has reached or passed this stage. Now it's telling you about actual barley and grain, but the Bible is also written in metaphors, allegories, and figurative language. That's why when we go into the Zohar, it's going to give us a more in-depth, understanding of what this is really talking about, But yeah, hold up. Let's go right here real quick. Hold on. And let's read off of here. It says Exodus 13:4 in context. 3. Then Moses said to the people, commemorate this day, the day you came out of Egypt, meaning the house of bondage, out of the land of slavery, because the Lord brought you out of it with a mighty hand. Eat nothing containing yeast. So, commemorate this day because the Lord brought you out of it. And remember Genesis 15 when he, these is all metaphors and also prophecies of things that's going to come to pass. And he talks about in the latter time this 400-year, prophecy of the descendants being back in another place similar to Egypt / Mitzrayim, and another bondage. We'll start off as a physical bondage and then, or even if they were prisoners of war, it's going to start off as a bondage and it's leading to a mental bondage. But this is how the Most High is going to set the captives free. Now, this is when we get into Passover of this year. And watch, this is going to go into a series of 7s. And, we're going to get into how 2023 equals up to 7. And how all these events that transpired within this 7-year cycle. And we know that every 7 years is a Jubilee cycle. And we were told that there'll be a 7-year period when these events will unfold. If you've been following me, you've seen the videos in which I've already previously done on things of this 7-year cycle. But this year, 2023, in this Passover, and the commemoration of the Most High's people, the Israelites, the spiritual lights, the 9 ether beings coming out of a similar body. Like King Solomon said, there's nothing new under the sun. So what has happened before is going to happen again. There was a transition period then, to lead them to the promised land. Now it's another transition period happening now. Remember that 400 year, just on paper, we got 1619 to 2019, HR 40 bill, African Americans being in this land for 400 years, African American is not really our name, but that's a title which that was given to us, so they don't have to give us reparations because based on, us accepting that title, which we really don't, but we don't come together as a collective holding people, to counteract and counterbalance these things. But, we're going to get into that more because everything is going to fall into place. It says each year, early spring, the month of Abib, for that was the month in which the Lord God brought you out of Egypt by night. Your Passover sacrifice may be from either the flock of the herd, and it must be sacrificed to the Lord your God at the designated place of worship, the place he chooses for his name to be honored. Eat it with bread made without yeast for 7 days. Now keep remembering the 7. It's going to bring up 7 so many times. 7 is a metaphor. Metaphors, allegories, figurative language, numerology. It's very key. You got to follow the consistency and pattern. It's going to say 7. You see, that's the first time it says 7. For 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast, as when you escaped from Egypt in such a hurry. So, you had to take something to eat. So this is remembering. These are them DNA etheric memories, This is why you commemorate and remember this Passover because it's going to be another one. It's going to happen again. So just as you acknowledge it in this 2023 to 7, you see how it says 7? It says, for 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast, as when you escape from the land of Egypt, which is Mitzrayim, which is translated as Egyptos, and, in Greek, and meaning the house of bondage. A place of bondage. Eat this bread of suffering, so that as long as you live, you will remember the day that you parted from Egypt, meaning bondage. Let no yeast be found in the house. All right, now we go on. It says, throughout your land for those 7 days. Here goes 7 days again. It says, and when you sacrifice the Passover lamb on the evening of the first day, do not let any of the meat remain until the next morning. You may not sacrifice the Passover in just any of the towns that the Lord your God has given you. You must offer it only as the designated place of worship, the place that the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored. Sacrifice it there in the evening as the sun goes down. This is one of the celestial events, just like you look for, like in Islam, they look for Ramadan through the new moon, You see how this is telling you when the sun goes down, everything deals with the planetary chart, A lot of people, that's why they never tell you look up. Remember to tell you the planetary chart. Shabbatai, where you get Shabbat from, means Saturn. Tezadek means Jupiter. Madam means Mars. Nogak means Venus. Kokab means Mercury. Shemesh, like Shem, children of light, Israelites. Shemesh means the sun. And Levana means the moon. Now let's keep going. I'm going to keep saying these things till it's embedded into your remembrance. You must offer it only in a designated place, the place that the Lord your God chooses for his name to be honored. Sacrifice it there in the evening as the sun. Shemesh, Shem, Israel, lights, spiritual, light, sun, Shem, children of light, children of Shem, Shemesh. The sun goes down on the anniversary of your exodus from Egypt, meaning Mizraim, but in the Greek translation, meaning bondage. Your exodus from bondage. Roast the lamb and eat it in the place of the Lord your God chooses. Then you may go back to your tent the next morning. For the next 6 days, you may not eat any bread made with yeast. On the seventh day, 7 again, 2023, which we know is 7, proclaimed another holy meaning Kodash, day in honor of the Lord your God, and no work may be done on that day, because you know that the 7th day, Shabbatai, which correlates with Saturn, and Saturn that correlates with Saturday, is the day of rest, 2023. 7, when the Most High rests his case because of this 7-year period that's coming to an end and all these events, everything is resetting just like you see. It's really happening. Just like you see this dollar that's collapsing, there's no turning back from here, Most High works in mysterious ways. He is redeeming his people, like he said in the book of Ezekiel and those other books. When he lured him to the valley of Jehoshaphat, when he uses the other nations to set the captives free. People who always think about physical bondage. This goes mental bondage all the way through all the epidemic of the Willie Lynch and all of this stuff that was designed to keep his people on a low state, a low vibrational frequency, so their kundalini would not rise. They are those valley of dry bones, those ones that it talks about in Revelation that lie dead in the street for 3.5 days in a dead state, and nobody believed that they could live but rise back up, but they are rising back up. Now let's keep going. Now, the festival of harvest. Now, listen to this harvest. It says, count off 7 weeks now. Now, it's talking about 7 weeks. See, I will go back to number 7. From when you first begin to cut the grain, remember this, the grain. Remember, keep saying grain. Remember what it just said when I broke down the definition, year of grain, the month in the Hebrew calendar when barley has reached or passed this stage. Remember, I broke down Exodus 13 and 4. So, and when Moses commemorated the day, remember this day. But now it's talking into another metaphor. It says, count off 7 days from when the first began to cut the grain at the time of harvest. Then celebrate the festival of harvest to honor the Lord your God. Bring him a voluntary offering in proportion to the blessings you have received from him. This is a time to celebrate before the Lord your God at the designated place of worship he will choose for his name to be honored. Celebrate with your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, the Levites from your town, and the foreigners, orphans, widows who live amongst you. So this is talking about those non-Israelites, those Gentiles, and those other people that cleave to you, because they need your light, because you were created to be a light to the rest of the world. So your energy, your vibrational frequency, which draws these people to you, though, like it says in the law, you treat people how you want to be treated, do unto others as you want them to do unto yourself. So in your community, within your tribe, even though these people might not be the same bloodline as you, but you are a chief, a community leader, that draws these people to you like a magnetic pull with your vibrational frequency by allowing your light to shine on them, taking their light from being dim to sparking it and keeping their energy going, because you keep them going. You were created to keep them going. That's why it's 144,000 elect that are scattered abroad. That seems like a small number if they say that there's 9 billion people on the planet. Most High talks about eliminating 2/3 of the population, just like it says in Marvel's Infinity Wars, Thanos, when he came to collect his gemstone. And coincidentally, Thanos being purple, the highest color, which is violet, the violet color of the chakras, which means spirituality, awareness, consciousness, collecting his gemstones and decreasing half the population. That's Marvel's Infinity War, but that's another metaphor, something that's just thrown in our face in plain sight. But let's keep going, and it says, remember I was talking about the people that surround you, the orphans, the widows, who live amongst you. So remember that you were once slaves in Egypt, meaning the house of bondage, which comes from the Greek word Egyptos, which really is Mizraim, the land of Mizraim, one of the sons of Ham, the progenitor of the dark races, like it says, it's honor being compact, and not the Negroes, but so be careful to obey all these decrees, Now remember what it just said about grains and all this stuff, so. And it goes on another one. It talks about the Feast of Shelters, but how you acknowledge all these things at the same time. But, we already 22 minutes in, so now I got to jump into the Zohar, because I don't want to make the video too long for those people that have a short attention span. So, remember I was telling you about, the year of grain, the month in the Hebrew calendar when barley has reached or passed this stage, how it just said in the Bible, that's the definition and how it said in the Bible. It talks about, let me go here again, so y'all keep up with me. I'll be moving fast because, I download and process a lot of information at once. Sometimes I even be skipping and fumbling over my words, but it's there, I just got to be patient and put it all in context. That's why I got like 3 books open right now. 1, 2, 3, and a whole bunch of other information over there, this is how I'll be moving, But like what it says, count off 7 weeks from the year you first begin to cut the grain. Now, all right, that's what it's talking about, grain. Now, right here, this is the Zohar. This is the Zohar, the essential Zohar, the Kabbalistic wisdom. So this is going to the esoteric information. This is what I went through a long time ago, the wheat and the chaff. Now watch what this says. Watch how this metaphor works. It says right here, in the preceding passage, the Zohar simply designates these two alternatives as right and left, talking about the Godhead, it's talking about salvation, and it's talking about judgments, the divine feminine, Mother Nature bringing the judgments, and, Father God who art in heaven having mercy, and them two working together to bring the balance, but, a lot of people that's not on that, some people already know about that, but I'm going to just give it to you raw and uncut. It says the fundamental teaches that when a sufficient number of people, now talking about us, the collective consciousness, which creates Christ consciousness, this is the return, the God particle, us, it's ascending, the rapture from your lower self to your higher self, because you're being mindful and aware, you are vibrating, and your kundalini is rising, you're getting to that high chakra, that violet, that's why it talks about that purple in the Bible, and it talks about, you get to, that's why you always see the last chakra, the crown, the halo, it always has like that crown like an angel, You open up, you get past your third eye with pineal gland, and then you get to that crown chakra, that consciousness, that full awareness. It says the fundamental teaching, when a sufficient number of people have chose to use the divinely given spiritual tools, a critical mass will be achieved that will bring about the redemption of humanity as a whole, even including those who have followed the negative path. That one might say is the good news, followed the negative path. That one might say is the good news. The bad news is that the reverse is also true. This is when poles shift. This is when things reverse. This is when the planet resets. There will be that great tribulation, but it's a great tribulation for the powers that be, the people that are the 666, the mark of the beast, the 60 ether people, the spiritual death, that all are as a collective in that system. And it's telling you. Make sure our video's still on. Yeah, it's a great reset, because everything is going back to its natural settings. The first will be the last will be the first. And it says, and that the reverse is also true. Because galactic karma works. Thee that leadeth into captivity will go into captivity. Thee that killeth with the sword will be killed with the sword. You get what you dish, just like it tells you about doing to others as you want done to yourself, and treat people how you want to be treated. Because it's telling you this is a cause and effect, If you follow this law is written on your heart and your consciousness, and you naturally do it, this is what you will gravitate to yourself as your magnetic pull, through the ley lines and spiritual energy and vibrations. But this is talking about a reset right here, following the negative path, and talking about humanity as a whole, even including those who have followed the negative path. That one might say is the good news. It's good news to one group, because remember how Pluto returned. But you want to know what the esoteric, the spiritual significance of Pluto. These planets, you just think they're just planets, but these are actual living bodies of energy and influence and intelligence that correlate energy, that deals with the attributes and the inner essence of us as well. And Pluto, how it came back around 22, around the time when Russia was invading Ukraine. But the significance to Pluto returning, it means Sheol, Hades, which most people know as hell, because it will be hell on earth, but it also means, spiritual death, and it means rebirth. So that means judgment and salvation. One people are going through a judgment, and one people are going through salvation. But you can't have salvation without chaos. So there has to be a chaos that had to go on for the salvation to come about. If that makes any sense to anybody. But, that's why you have to have both sides, the esoteric and the exoteric. Everything works in duality. So you have to know the significance of these things. When you see these things, how will you know the signs that are coming? You will know by the signs and the wonders. How will you know the signs and wonders? If you never look into those things, and everybody told you that they was bad, and never look up, That's what I'm here for. 999. I was born in the 9th month, the 19th day, the 90th year at exactly 9 o'clock. 4 nines, not 3, But look it up, Fortune teller, anybody will tell you, everybody's birthday, time and measure, like it tells you in the 6th or 7th book of Moses. It tells you about your attributes. It tells you that basically what I get out of it, I'm here to complete a cycle. Just like it tells you that I'm an earth sign, that means I'm connected to Mother Nature, and I can heal people by tapping into the elements. It also tells you that my job is to serve humanity. My job is to help people that can't be helped. My job is to create war and balance, to wickedness. My job is to go far and beyond. Yes, I have to go through a lot of torture. I have to go through a lot of hardships. I have to go through these things because I have to learn both sides in duality in order to balance it all out. But back to this. It says, and that the reverse is also true, as has been proven on a number of occasions in the biblical narrative. When evil has become sufficiently widespread, a general cleansing must take place. Great reset. On a scale that transcends the virtues of depravity. Some people are being deprived and kept at the bottom of individual human beings. Listen to this. At that point, the wheat is no longer separated from the chaff. The wheat is no longer separated from the chaff. What do we just read in the Bible, in the book of Deuteronomy, when it's talking about, in Passover? It said the festival of harvest count off 7 weeks from when the first began to cut the grain from the time of the harvest. What is the definition? The year of grain, the month in the Hebrew calendar when the barley has reached or passed its stage. Now, what is the esoteric version is telling you? It's talking about a general cleansing must take place on a scale that transcends the virtues of depravity of individual human beings at the point that the wheat is no longer separated from the chaff. As above, so below. You become connected back to your source. You are that host, that router, getting you are the device that is getting the Wi-Fi signals from source router, that's pushing them all through all the device, sparking them and keeping them working and keeping them compatible as a collective consciousness to keep working. Now let's read that again. It says